All right, so now we're going to look at some word problems for optimization. So first of all here, they give you some good steps to just solving these type of word problems, kind of a process of what you need to do. Again, they also give you a completed example. Not a bad idea to read through this question and see what they did. But I'm going to go ahead and skip down to the example for today. So, a delicatessen has 12 pounds of plain sausage and 10 pounds of spicy sausage. That's probably going to be important. Bratwurst A, a pound of bratwurst A, contains 3/4 pound of plain sausage and 1/4 pound of spicy. Bratwurst B contains a 1/2 pound of each. Find the maximum number of pounds of bratwurst that can be made. So when it says find the maximum number of pounds of bratwurst, the pounds of each bratwurst, are going to be our variables that we're looking for here. So I'm going to call them X and Y. X is going to stand for pounds of A. Y is pounds of B. Okay. I also know exactly how many pounds of the different types of sausage I have to start with. I have 12 pounds of plain. I'm going to go ahead and label that right here. And I have 10 pounds of spicy. I also know how many pounds of each are in a pound of each type of bratwurst. So to make an A, I need to have 3/4 pounds of plain sausage. So for each bratwurst A, 3/4 pound of plain and 1/4 pound of spicy. For bratwurst B, I'm going to have a 1/2 pound of plain and a 1/2 pound of spicy. This makes my two equations that I'm going to graph and use for my system of equations. So this is pretty sloppy like it is with these fractions and stuff. So I'm going to clear out all the fractions. I'm going to multiply this equation by a 4 to get rid of all those fractions. When I do that, I'm also going to move to a separate sheet of paper. Whenever I do that, I get 3x plus 2y equals 48. I'm going to multiply this equation also by a 4 to clean out those fractions, and that's going to give me x plus 2y equals 40. So I need to graph this and I need to solve this system of equations, or you can just graph it to start with. To graph it, I would need to solve both of these for y. This one's going to be y equals -3/2 x plus 24. Gross. This one's going to be y equals -1/2 x plus 20. So whenever I get ready to graph this over here, if you notice they have not labeled this grid at all. One thing that you can kind of do is you can think about, what if we're going to call x is A, again, x is going to be A, that's down here, this is your x-axis, y is B. What if we only decided to make bratwurst B? Well, I need a 1/2 pound of each per bratwurst. So what's the maximum number I could make? Well, you can do some math there, or you can just use your y-intercepts. Y-intercept at 20 and 24. Really the best thing to label your grid by is 5s. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. I'm going to go ahead and label the x-axis that way too. 5, 10, 15, 20. Okay. So y-intercept for the blue equation starts at 24. It's a very inaccurate point, and I don't like doing it. The y-intercept for the pink equation is going to be at 20. Also a very inexact point. But from there, instead of trying to graph my slope for this, because again, those are terrible points, what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to find what would the x-intercept be. Okay, well, the x-intercept for the pink line, okay, you can use this equation or you can use this equation. If I plug a 0 in for y, that gives me my x-intercept is going to be at 40. 40. So from here to here. For the blue equation, if you plug a 0 in for here, 48 divided by 3 is going to be 16. Okay. I know that if I only have 12 pounds and 10 pounds, I need to be less than both of those lines. So my shaded region for this is looking like this area here. Now, to me, this graph is only somewhat helpful. If I actually had this equation to solve myself, I would just solve the system that we've created here. And if I was going to solve this system, you could easily use either substitution or elimination. I actually prefer elimination as well. So 3x plus 2y equals 48. I'm going to change the sign on the second equation. When I solve this, the y's cancel. 2x equals 8. X equals 4. If x is 4, I'm going to plug it back in right there. Plus 2y equals 40. 2y equals 36. Y equals 18. So the solution to this, the maximum point, is going to occur when you make 4 pounds of bratwurst A and 18 pounds of bratwurst B.